She's not going to walk up and spell it out for you. Instead, she'll drop hints, a look that locks in for just a little too long, a sudden closeness that makes you aware of her presence, a teasing comment that challenges you to keep up. These moments aren't accidents, they're tests, and most men fail them, either by jumping in too eagerly or by missing the moment completely. That's how you lose attraction before it even starts. I'm about to walk you through 6 signs a woman wants to take things further, and how to respond in a way that keeps you in control, keeps her guessing, and keeps the power where it belongs, with you. Before we dive into these 6 signs, take a second to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this message is reaching. I read every comment, and it's powerful to see how many men have been in these moments without even realizing the game being played. Now let's get back to the story, because what you're about to hear could change the way you read every woman you meet from this day forward. 1. The lingering gaze. You're at a crowded bar, music pulsing in the background, voices blending into a low hum. You glance up, and there she is, eyes locked on yours. Not just a passing glance, not a polite acknowledgement. Her gaze lingers, holding yours for a moment too long. Your pulse quickens. In your head, you're already making moves. But here's the problem. That's exactly where most men blow it. A woman's prolonged gaze isn't always the green light you think it is. Yes, it's a signal, but it's also a test. Her eyes are reading you as much as they're showing you something. She's measuring your composure, your self-control, your ability to stay grounded when temptation is staring you dead in the face. From a psychological standpoint, sustained eye contact triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It creates a sense of intimacy, trust, even desire. But here's the catch. She knows this. Women have been using the gaze as a subtle weapon for centuries, sometimes consciously, sometimes instinctively. They understand that a man's reaction to their eyes tells them more than any conversation ever could. Pay attention to the details. If her gaze holds for more than 3 seconds, that's intentional. If the muscles around her eyes soften, that's emotional warmth slipping through. If her pupils dilate, that's biology whispering interest. But the most dangerous pattern? The cat and mouse game. She locks eyes, glances away, then checks back to see if you're still watching. That's not just attraction, that's a probe. And here's where the weak man trips. He takes the bait. He rushes over or stares back too hungrily, signaling neediness. In that instant, the balance shifts. She's in control, you're chasing, and she knows it. The man of substance does something different. He notices, but he doesn't flinch. He meets her eyes with calm intensity, not aggression, not desperation. He doesn't break contact nervously, but he also doesn't devour her with his gaze. He lets the silence between them breathe, lets her wonder what he's thinking. That mystery is worth more than any clever pickup line you could throw across the room. Because here's the truth most men can't stomach. If you rush toward her because she looked at you, you've just sold your value cheap. You've told her you're easily moved, easily swayed. And the moment she knows that, the game changes, and not in your favor. The lingering gaze is not an invitation. It's a conversation without words, where your restraint speaks louder than anything you could say. Handle it wrong and you look like every other man she's ever tested. Handle it right, and you become the man she can't quite figure out. And that, my friend, is where attraction starts to work in your favor. If you jump in just because she looked, you've already given away the one thing you can't get back, your frame. 2. The dance of proximity. You're standing in a group, talking with a few friends, drink in hand. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice her. She had plenty of space to stand elsewhere, but somehow she ends up right next to you. Close enough that you can feel the warmth radiating from her arm. Close enough that the edge of her perfume brushes against your senses. Most men at this point think they've won. They assume proximity equals permission. But here's the truth. It's rarely that simple. In reality, her move into your personal space is layered, part instinct, part strategy. And whether she realizes it or not, she's watching to see what you do next. Psychologists call it proxemics, the study of personal space. Humans instinctively guard their bubble, usually anywhere from 18 inches to 4 feet. When a woman chooses to step inside yours, it's a signal. Comfort, trust, maybe attraction. But here's where the subtlety comes in. Was it intentional or accidental? Watch for patterns. If she finds ways to be near you repeatedly, despite other options, that's deliberate. If her body angles toward you, open posture, shoulders facing you, she's sending focus and interest. And if you notice incidental contact, her elbow brushing yours, a light lean during conversation, those are deliberate probes. The danger? Overreading the moment. Many men interpret one close encounter as a green light and rush in, collapsing the tension that proximity creates. They step forward, touch her too soon, or crowd her space in return. And just like that, the magic is gone. Why? Because the allure was in the space between you, not in erasing it instantly. The man who understands the dance of proximity doesn't chase it. He lets her close the gap on her own terms. He stays grounded in his position, rooted in his frame, not retreating, but not lunging forward either. That steadiness tells her something vital. You're not desperate for closeness. You're comfortable commanding your space. Timing matters here. If she moves closer during a moment of laughter, after a shared story, or when the energy between you is high, it's an amplifier. But your job is to recognize it without breaking the rhythm. No sudden shifts, no overeager gestures, just a calm acknowledgement, eye contact, a slight smile that says, I noticed. Here's the reality. Most women are surrounded by men who overcompensate. They can't handle the tension of proximity without trying to cash in immediately. But a man who can let the tension breathe, that's rare. And rare gets remembered. So when she steps into your space, don't see it as your cue to pounce. See it as her move in a slow, deliberate game. A game where your patience, your ability to hold position, is exactly what pulls her in further. A man who holds his ground forces her to take the next step. And that's when you know she's truly interested. 3. The subtle touch. You're deep in conversation, maybe telling a story when it happens. Her hand brushes your arm, just a light graze, nothing that would draw attention from anyone else. She keeps talking like it was nothing, but you feel it. That split-second spark, that rush of awareness shooting straight to your brain. Most men in that moment give themselves away. They freeze, or worse, they light up like she just handed them the winning ticket. They laugh too loudly, lean in too fast, or touch back instantly, confirming exactly what she wanted to know. You're hooked. Here's what you need to understand. Physical touch is one of the oldest human signals of connection. Before words, we had touch. It can comfort, it can dominate, and yes, it can seduce. But women, especially those who understand their power, use it with precision. They know a fleeting brush of the fingers can tell them volumes about your self-control. From a neurological perspective, even the smallest touch can release dopamine and serotonin, the brain's pleasure chemicals. It feels good. It bonds people. And she's aware, even subconsciously, of that effect. But what's more important is what happens after that first touch. Does she see you melt, or does she see you hold your frame? There are several tells to watch for. Incidental grazes, seemingly accidental brushes of the hand, shoulder, or back, often more deliberate than they appear. Anchoring touches. Her hand rests on your arm while she's making a point, holding it there just long enough to create a moment. Playful pushes, light shoves during teasing, blurring the line between fun and flirtation. Lingering contact, touch that lasts just a beat longer than necessary. Every one of these can be both a signal and a test. If you flinch or pull away, you might signal discomfort or disinterest. If you respond too eagerly, you risk looking like every man who jumps at the first hint of attention. The man who stands out is the one who stays unshaken, acknowledging the touch without rushing to reciprocate. Think of it like this: touch is her move on the chessboard. Your response tells her whether you're playing the game or being played. The disciplined man understands delayed reciprocity. Instead of mirroring her touch right away, he lets the moment pass, continuing the conversation with the same calm energy. When he does touch back, later, and on his own terms, it's far more powerful because it's intentional, not reactive. This is where most men fail. They think touch is an immediate green light to escalate. In reality, it's the start of a tension curve. If you peak too soon, there's nowhere left to go. But if you stretch that curve, letting the anticipation build, you create something far more compelling than instant gratification. A woman who tests you with subtle touch isn't just seeing if you're interested, she's gauging your mastery over yourself. And nothing is more magnetic than a man who can feel that spark and still remain in control. How you handle a single touch tells her whether you're leading the dance or just following her lead. 4. The shift in tone. You've been talking for a while, maybe in a group, maybe one-on-one. Then something changes. Her voice drops just a little. The pace slows. The edges soften, like she's wrapping her words in velvet. Suddenly, it feels like the rest of the world has gone quiet, like the conversation belongs only to the two of you. This is no accident. In social psychology, voice modulation is a powerful tool for building intimacy. A softer, slower tone pulls you in, making you lean closer without even realizing it. It creates a private space in public, and women instinctively know how to use it. Think about it. We've all heard lovers speak to each other in ways they would never speak to strangers. Lower pitch, gentler delivery, deliberate pauses. It's not the words that matter, it's the way they're delivered. And that delivery can bypass your logic completely, going straight for your emotional core. Here's what the research says. When we find someone attractive, our voices naturally change. Women tend to lower their pitch slightly, slow their tempo, and inject warmth into their tone. These shifts trigger dopamine in the listener's brain, the same chemical that makes you want more of whatever you're experiencing. The signs are subtle, but they're there. Softened volume. She speaks just low enough that you have to lean in to hear her. Slower pace. Words stretch just a bit, like she's savoring them. Playful inflection. A teasing rise or a sing-song drop that keeps you off balance. Contrast with group voice. If her tone with you is warmer or quieter than when she talks to others, that's not random. Now, here's the danger. Many men get lulled into this verbal cocoon and lose all situational awareness. They read the softness as intimacy, the slowness as an open door, and they rush in. But that's when they're most likely to overstep, killing the tension that her tone was building. The man of control plays it differently. He hears the change, feels the pull, but doesn't get lost in it. He keeps his own delivery steady, not rushing to match her softness, not filling the silence with nervous chatter. Instead, he maintains a calm, grounded pace, creating a rhythm that keeps her leaning in. Here's an advanced move. Mirror without mimicry. If she slows down, you can ease your own tempo slightly, just enough to sync without looking like you're chasing the mood she's creating. This keeps you in the lead while still feeding the connection. Remember, the shift in tone is like a low, steady current. It's meant to carry you somewhere, but you choose whether to drift or steer. A man who lets himself get carried away will end up where she wants him. A man who stays at the helm will take the conversation exactly where he wants it to go. Her voice can pull you in, but your mind has to be the anchor that keeps you in control. 5. Playful Defiance. You're telling her about your favorite band, and she smirks. Really? Didn't think you were that kind of guy. Or maybe she leans back, eyebrows raised. I bet you couldn't last a day without your phone. The words are playful, the smile is there, But make no mistake, this is a test. Playful defiance is one of the most underappreciated forms of attraction. It's not sweetness, it's not flattery. It's a little push to see if you can handle being pushed. Women use it to measure your confidence, your wit, and your ability to stay composed when someone's poking at you. In psychology, teasing in a romantic context is called low-risk flirting. It's a safe way to explore chemistry without risking too much vulnerability. She's not insulting you, she's inviting you into a sparring match. And how you handle it will determine whether she sees you as a contender or just another man who crumbles under pressure. Here's how to spot it. Mocking your preferences, noticing what you like, then poking fun at it with a smirk. Playful disagreements, challenging your statements in an exaggerated way. Over-the-top sarcasm, pretending to take a jab at your persona or habits. Eyes that give her away. If her gaze is warm and her body language open, the challenge is a doorway, not a wall. The trap most men fall into? They take it personally. They get defensive, trying to prove themselves right. Or they try to win by one-upping her aggressively, turning light banter into actual conflict. Either move kills the energy instantly. The man who passes this test doesn't bite the hook. He doesn't get rattled, doesn't rush to defend his ego. Instead, he treats it for what it is, a game. He smiles, lets the moment breathe, and then responds in a way that keeps the ball in play without giving away frustration. Example, she says, "Wow, you think you're mysterious?" You lean in slightly, a half smile on your lips. "I prefer enigmatic, but close enough." You've just turned her jab into a shared laugh, and without breaking stride. Playful defiance is like a verbal chess match. Every move she makes is an opportunity for you to show that you can think quickly, stay calm, and keep the interaction light. And when you can meet her challenge without losing your frame, you send a message that goes far beyond the words exchanged. I'm not here to prove myself to you, but I'm not afraid to let you try. Here's the secret. She's not looking for a man who fights her. She's looking for a man who can dance with her energy. And if you can do that, you turn a simple tease into a thread of attraction that keeps her coming back for more. When you don't get pulled into her game, you're the one actually leading it. 6. The mirror effect. You take a sip of your drink, and a moment later, she does the same. You lean back in your chair, and a few beats later, she mirrors the motion. At first, you think it's coincidence, but then you notice more. The way her words start matching your phrasing, her laughter syncing with yours, her posture reflecting your own. This isn't random. It's a subconscious phenomenon called mirroring, driven by the brain's mirror neurons, the same mechanisms that help us empathize and connect with others. When someone mirrors you, it's a sign their mind is aligning with yours. In the context of attraction, it's her way of saying, "We're on the same wavelength," without ever having to say it out loud. Psychologists have documented mirroring as one of the strongest nonverbal cues of rapport. It happens when two people are in sync, physically, emotionally, even rhythmically. The more she aligns with you, the more she's building a sense of us instead of me and you. Here's what to look for. Posture matching. You shift your stance, and she unconsciously does the same moments later. Gestural synchrony. Her hands start moving like yours when you speak. Speech pattern alignment. She picks up your pacing, your tone, even your slang. Emotional mirroring. Your energy drops and hers softens. Your excitement spikes and she rises with you. The dangerous mistake most men make? They notice it and immediately get smug. They see it as proof they've got her and start coasting. That's when they lose their edge. Attraction isn't a static state. It's a dynamic current. And if you stop leading, she stops following. The man of composure plays this differently. He notices the mirroring, but doesn't make a show of it. He stays consistent, authentic, and grounded, allowing her to keep syncing up without disrupting the flow. He doesn't test her by making sudden changes just to see if she follows. That's a rookie move that breaks the rhythm. Instead, he uses subtle reinforcement. If she mirrors your lean in, You can close the gap slightly, lowering your voice as if to share something just for her. If she adopts your phrasing, drop in a playful line. Careful, you're starting to sound like me. It acknowledges the connection without making it awkward and keeps the atmosphere charged. Remember, mirroring is her subconscious way of saying, I feel safe matching your pace. That's powerful, but the responsibility's on you to lead in a way that keeps that pace worth matching. Keep your frame steady, your energy intentional, and she'll continue falling into step without even realizing why. If she's moving to your rhythm, don't break it to prove she's following. Keep playing the tune she can't stop dancing to. These 6 signs, the lingering gaze, the dance of proximity, the subtle touch, the shift in tone, the playful defiance, and the mirror effect, are not open invitations. They're signals, clues in a language most men never learn to read. And here's the truth. Just because you recognize them doesn't mean you're obligated to act on them. Strength isn't in chasing every spark of interest. It's in knowing which fires are worth tending and which ones will burn you if you get too close. A man with depth, purpose, and control understands that attraction is just the opening move, not the end game. He doesn't let every look, every touch, every flirt pull him off his center. He chooses, he decides, and in that decision, he keeps his power. Because the goal isn't to win her attention. The goal is to be the kind of man whose presence naturally draws the right women closer and keeps the wrong ones at arm's length. That's the difference between chasing validation and living with intention. So take what you've learned here and sharpen it. Use it to stay awake in the moments when other men get lost. Let it guide you, not control you. The quiet strength you carry is far more attractive than any smooth line or clever move you could ever make. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next lesson. Drop a comment with the moments you've experienced, the signs you've seen, because when men share their stories, we all get sharper. And remember this, in the game of attraction, the man who keeps his frame will always outlast the man who chases the frame. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and lead with self-mastery.